This is the 2018 Jaguar XJ R 575 Super Sedan. The Jaguar animal is one of the largest and most powerful of the big cat species, and this monster undoubtedly lives up to its name by sporting a supercharged V8 575 horsepower engine. That's right, 575 horsepower, and it'll take you from 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. Oh, and this bad boy will surely get you some screen time on live PD by offering a top speed of 186 miles an hour. This particular model comes in Yulong white with ebony leather and piano black trim finisher. The vehicle has a surround camera system, lane departure, and distance pacing cruise. The dash is completely digitized even down to the logo, and one of the most impressive aspects of this car is the crazy amount of room on the inside. This is certainly where luxury, modern, and sporty all intersect. I surely can't, but this can be purchased for $127,000 if you got it. Hi, I am Jordan Stallings with our new show, Brokers, in Cars, Talking Contracts. Each week, we will ride around in some cool cars with some somewhat cool real estate brokers and chat about the contract. Today, our guest is Marianne White from Century 21 Vanguard. I've known Marianne for a few years now. She and her husband actually sit behind us at the Fireflies baseball games. What's on your mind, Marianne?
Well, I want to talk about transaction cost in paragraph 5 of the contract.
Gotcha. Well, paragraph 5 is the one that defines buyer and seller closing costs, just to keep that in mind. Do you have any specific questions or any problems that have come up?
Well, yeah, under our contract, what items are considered closing costs?
Well, that's a great question. A lot of people forget that in paragraph 5, it actually defines what buyer and seller closing costs are. So it's right there. I've had, probably once every month or so, I'll have somebody say, hey, seller was supposed to pay up to $3,000, $4,000 in closing costs, but I want to see what we're paying for because I don't think the buyer used them all. But if you look right there in paragraph 5, it actually defines what buyer closing costs and what seller closing costs are. More specifically, if you actually look in paragraph 5A, this is where, if you click that one, I say click because I know a lot of people do DocuSign now.
Right, that's right.
It's check sign for us, old school filling it out. But 5A, if that's selected, buyer pays for their own closing costs. So if you look back to the definition section, of course, then it's defined right there what the buyer's paying for and what the seller's paying for. 5B, though, as you know, the one that's mostly used, of course, we want the seller to help out the buyer. So that's where the seller's going to say, I will pay up to X amount of dollars for buyer closing costs.
Well, what happens if it's not all used? Where does that money go?
Well, that's a great question. And I will tell you this, though, to answer it a little different way. I actually hardly ever, I'd probably say 99 out of 100 transactions, buyer's going to use it all up. And the reason why is because if you look at what's defined in paragraph 5, there's so much stuff in there. There's even prepaids are included. So if the buyer really only has like $2,000 in closing costs, but the seller says they'll pay up to $3,000, the buyer can throw in there some prepaids. So escrows that are going in their escrow account, prepaids, HOAs, all those are included. So I'll tell you this, if you're anywhere $5,000 or under and you're a loan transaction, absolutely the buyer's going to use all that up.
Okay, and what about the home inspections? Can it include that?
Home inspections are definitely included. So if you look in that section again, it includes that and more. Really, it's anything that the buyer can use to get the deal closed and even prepaid. So I mean, it's all encompassing, so to speak.
But most buyers pay that up front when they have the home inspection. Can that be added back to the contract?
It certainly can. Yeah,
I did not know that.
It really can. I mean, there's different ways to do it. You've probably noticed the column in the settlement statement, the POC, paid outside of closing.
Right.
But you can put that over into the column or still use it and celebrate. I mean, it still can be factored in.
So if all the money is not used up, you guys would tell us and we can send that over as well, the invoice. That way y'all can add that to the closing.
Yeah, absolutely. That can certainly be done.
That is good information.
Yeah, I mean, think about it like you're saying, HVAC, where it's inspections, roof inspection. I mean, all the other inspections that you normally don't see. I'll tell you what, I don't ever see inspections on a settlement statement anyway, but yeah, if your buyer ever needed it to get to that up to so-and-so number.
Exactly, because I've had that to happen before.
Use it.
Well, I never knew that, so that is good information for me. and for my buyers.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, what about under paragraph 7? It says the seller will convey marketable title by general warranty deed. What does marketable title and a general warranty deed mean? What does that mean?
Paragraph 7 is really important to me as a closing attorney and title insurance agent. So, and the reason why that's so important is because in that paragraph, it requires the seller to provide the buyer at closing a warranty deed.
Okay.
Warranty deed basically says that seller holds clear title to the property and is conveying clear title to the property.
Okay.
Now, that can be amended, so the contract can certainly be changed, or another contract altogether other than our CCRA contract could be presented requiring something less, like a quick claim deed, or even like a limited or special warranty deed. The reason why those are kind of important and why I wanted to mention that when you asked the question is because if something other than a general warranty deed is being provided, so if the contract's marked up or just it's a different contract altogether, I think it's important that the buyer knows that they're not really getting a full clear title from the seller. However, if they do get a title insurance policy, it's going to wrap around that special or limited warranty deed, and they'll get what I would consider to be just the same as a general warranty deed.
Okay.
One thing to kind of point out and what a limited warranty deed is, it says, hey, I'm the seller, but I'm only warranting title from the time I owned it, so my period of ownership. They're not warranting what happened before that. So it's, of course, a lesser form of a warranty deed.
So that title insurance would help. That's why we always stress that the buyer take theirs as well, even
Absolutely.
though they don't have to, but it's to the best interest for them to accept that.
Absolutely.
Because you never know what heirs can come back from previous generations can come back and say, hey, I own that.
That's exactly right. Two other things I want to mention for paragraph 7 is paragraph 7A. I don't see a lot of people using this. You tell me if you see in your office, but paragraph 7A is where you can actually check or click, as I said earlier, of course, whether or not the possession is being provided to the buyer at closing within 24 hours or within 48 hours.
I use it every time.
Use it every time. That's good.
Every single time.
That's good.
Yes, because I want my, sometimes, when the seller can't get out on time. I mean,
especially if they're buying and selling one back to back, you probably want to opt for the 24 or 48.
Right.
If you're maybe the listing agent, I would assume.
But I'd say 95% of the time it's at closing.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it make any difference the buyer enter where it states deed will be prepared in the name of?
It does. I would say it's more important when you have an REO type contract, and the reason why that's so important is because, as you may know from dealing in any foreclosure purchases or sales, the sellers are very strict about it. So if you put a name in there, but you want 2 names on title and you've only put 1, they're not going to allow that other name on title.
Okay.
And also, if I'm the true buyer, but you and I are both are going to be on title, both of our names need to be in that section.
Yeah, okay.
It helps everybody in the process, lender, attorney, everyone.
Okay. Well, I see a lot of times where one person is on the mortgage, and then there'll be 2 people on the deed.
That's right. So it would be good to have it in that area of the contract to put who's actually going to be on title, aka the deed.
Right. Okay. Any advice on completing close on or before date?
Yes, man, I'll tell you what, I've seen a buyer recently lose out altogether on a deal because they put too quickly of a close in their contract. They put it's about a 2 to 3 week closing date in there, but guess what? Their lender couldn't be ready in time.
Exactly.
When their lender wasn't ready, whether it be because of the appraiser or because it's a USDA or VA loan, of course, it always takes more than 30 days.
Exactly.
If you put too quick of a close date in there, buyer's going to lose out on the deal because they're going to be in default after that date if they don't close by that date.
Right,
so
and the
they're setting themselves up for a big problem.
Or it's voidable. What about, when does a seller have to give possession of the house? When do they have to?
That's all going to be per the terms of 7B. So 7B, that's checking those boxes.
Okay.
One thing I will mention, and just kind of last thing I'll say about paragraph 7, is that 5-day rule. So people always have a problem with this, and there's a lot of misconceptions there. But if you read it, it says very specifically that a 5-day extension is going to basically be automatically granted, but only if the buyer can provide either proof of funds for a cash transaction or if they actually provide a commitment from the lender saying pretty much that they're all good to go and closing is going to happen shortly. So, but if those two things, you got to have those things. That's right. So it's not just basically an automatic 5-day.
So you have to prove that it's going to close. It's just that they don't have everything ready yet.
That's right.
Okay.
And the last thing I'll mention about that, if you're doing a contract extension and you're writing it, make sure you draft it and you word it correctly, because if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to mess up and put, okay, the contract close date is now, say, July 20th, and when July 21 rolls around, you might automatically assume you get that 5 days, but you don't unless you word that correctly. I would either say 5-day extensions is hereby included, or we are hereby amending the particular paragraph and line in the contract by saying the contract close date per paragraph 7 is this. So I think that's probably the best way to do that, to keep that 5 days intact for your buyer.
I think a lot of times as agents, we don't have the legalese to put in the contracts, and I wish there was some kind of verbiage that you guys could give us to help us write those extensions.
I'd be happy to, anytime. I always tell them first to go see Marianne, and then when Marianne has a question, she's going to call us.
That's right. Always. Always.
Well, that's fantastic. Anything else on your mind while I got you?
Well, not that I can think of at the moment. I'm just really happy I learned something today.
Excellent. Hope you did
about
too.
putting in those home inspections. I can put those in the contract as well. Just send the invoices over to you guys, and y'all will put it in paid out of pocket. Or paid out.
That'll be our
closing.
Maximize the buyer's closing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'll even increase my attorney fee just to get there if we need to, right?
That's right.
We'll get that number. We'll get up to it. All right, Marianne. So one thing Gary always likes to do is he's on a mission to figure out the worst song ever, the worst song in the world. I figured, well, while he's searching for the worst song, I need to search for the best song ever, right?
Yes.
So, of course, that took me to Google, as everything else does. And one thing I was very, very, very shocked by is that this song made the top 5 of the Billboard's all-time greatest 100 songs ever. Okay. This is top 5. I kind of disagree here, but the Party Rock Anthem by LMFAO, top 5 songs of all time.
Seriously? Oh.
1.4 billion hits on YouTube. Wow. And all I can think of are these darn hamsters dancing in that Kia commercial. That's the only thing I can picture. Not a bad song, but definitely not top 5 all the time. You know?
No, not at all.
All right, well, maybe we stumbled upon another one of the worst songs then.
I think so.
All right, good. I'm glad we agree.
I think so.